Hey guys, Denise of Lazy K Mountain Homestead. Well, I am going to put together a hummingbird cake. And no, there's no hummingbirds in this cake. It's just a traditional southern cake. It's an old-fashioned cake and it's all by scratch. And it's really yummy. It has bananas and pineapple in it and cinnamon. And it's just really moist and delicious. And I'm making it for our dinner tomorrow. We're having a traditional, well, as traditional as Irish Americans can have, corned beef and boiled cabbage and potatoes, and then we're having this hummingbird cake for our dessert. So let me go ahead and start. It's can be a 2 or 3 layer cake. I'm going to make it in a 2 layer, and then with the additional batter, I'm going to put it in a loaf pan. So because we don't need a 3 layer cake, I'll just probably freeze the other. So let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to need is 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I sifted that, 2 cups of granulated sugar, 3 eggs, and it says lightly beaten, 1.5 cups of vegetable oil. Now I use vegetable oil. I don't use olive oil in this cake because it's a little bit heavy for this cake. And we've got 2 cups of chopped bananas, and they don't have to be super mushy ripe like you would for a banana cake, like a banana bread rather. But these were ripe but not overly ripe. And 8 ounces of crushed pineapple with the juice. It takes vanilla, and also you're going to have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So we're going to go ahead and put this together. And I have printed out my recipe so I do this correct. I've got my oven preheated at 350. And I am going to go ahead and put all of my dry ingredients in here. This is my soda. My fingers are clean. My soda, my cinnamon, and my salt into my flour mixture. And I'm whisking it together because I'm keeping the air in the flour. Okay. There we go. We got that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put my oil in the mixer. And then I'm going to add the sugar. And I'm going to cream that together. And this is just the same if you were using butter or something, but it takes oil. Oil really does make a moist cake. So I'm just going to go ahead and cream that together. I've got 2 cake pans already ready, and they have got parchment paper and they're oiled. And then I've got my loaf pan that I'm going to use for that 3rd layer. But it also takes 1 cup of toasted pecans, and that's going in the cake. And you're going to need some more for the outside. It's going to have a cream cheese frosting, and you can decorate with pecans or pecans, however you say them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we are creaming this sugar. And I'm going to go ahead and add the eggs. Now these are slightly whipped with my fork. That way you don't have to worry about putting one in at a time because they're already creamed. And I am going to make sure I get all of that yummy yolk in there. These are from our hens. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let that just mix together. And you're going to see it turn to a really nice creamy mixture. Okay, now what we're going to do now is turn it on low. And I'm going to add, I'm going to add a little at a time the flour. I'm going to go ahead and just let that mix. This is a lot of flour. to add at one time. You don't want a big cloud. So I like to add a little bit at a time. And it mixes well together. I'm just going to stop for a second and put a little bit in there. Okay. Now I'm going to add my vanilla, which is 1.5 teaspoons. Go ahead and let that get in there nice and moist. It's kind of a thick batter. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Now I'm going to add the pineapple with the juice, and that's 8 ounces. I'll have the recipe in the description box. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and put the bananas in this way because I don't think I can get them in through that little area there. There we go. And we're just going to mix this till it's blended together. Bananas are mixed. You'll see that it's combined in your batter. Ooh, it smells so good. Okay, I think that's good. Now that loosened our batter up a little bit, which is what we want. Okay. I used all-purpose flour and I used white lily. I'm going to add the nuts in a minute. I'm going to stir them in. But what I am going to do, even though I've got parchment paper on these, I'm going to go ahead and flour them. They already have oil on them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just flour your... Now I'm going to add my toasted pecans or pecans. And these are the ones that I got from the Mennonites. And I just put them in the oven on bake at 350 for about 20 minutes. That way, if I put them on broil, I am so bad about getting into something else or getting sidetracked, and then I burn my pecans. And the price of nuts, you don't want to do that. Okay, and like I said, you just want to save a few. I have 2 pounds, so I went ahead and I'm just going to use a few just to decorate. So you're just going to kind of toss these lightly through just so that it's mixed around. Boy, that looks good. Okay, now let me go ahead and get the flour here. And you're just going to flour your pans just like so. Okay. Get the excess flour off. And I just dump it in the trash can. Okay, let me just go ahead and do these and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got them all floured. I didn't think you wanted to see me do that. All right. Now I'm just going to evenly distribute this batter. And this is what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful? I can see the nuts and bananas in there. Like I said, it's got a cream cheese frosting. The recipe calls for 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. I don't think I'm going to use that much because we don't have to have a lot of batter between our layers, do we, Willis? He's over there watching TV. So, but you can use whatever you want to, and I'll have the original recipe with the original recipe for the cream cheese buttercream too, in case you guys want to use a lot of frosting. Typically, southern dishes have a lot of frosting, which I love, but you know, my hips love it even more. So And I've gotten to the age now where losing weight is not quite as easy as it once was. Unfortunately. But I still like to bake. All right, there we go. Got the oven preheated at 350. I'm going to go ahead and put all three of these in my oven. And we are going to bake for, and I didn't have that written down. Let me see here. Bake for 25 to 30 minutes. So that's pretty typical of a cake anyways. All right, we're going to go ahead and put these in. They smell so good. I'm going to have to find out why it's called a hummingbird cake, but I know it's delicious. I've eaten a lot of them in my lifetime. So there we go. We'll see you back in about 25 or 30 minutes with the cakes coming out of the oven. Okay, well the cakes are done. Here's one layer, and I've got the other two back here, and then the one layer rather, and then the loaf. So I'm going to go ahead and put together the buttercream. So what we're going to do is just put one stick of butter. I'm making half of the recipe that it's calling for. I'm going to go ahead and cream that butter. And it is room temperature, so it's nice and soft. And then I'm going to put in 1 8-ounce softened room temperature cream cheese. And we're going to let that get nice and creamed together. And then I'm going to add some powdered sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla. And I've got a little milk. You can use milk or cream. Okay. Now because it's powdered sugar, I'm going to go ahead and just add a little at a time with it off, because otherwise it will definitely be a cloud. And this is about a cup. I've measured this out before. It's about a cup. So I'm going to put 3 cups in. The recipe actually calls for 2 16-ounce boxes, which I think is 4 cups. So I'm going to go ahead and add, which would be 4 cups, 1 16-ounce box. And I'm just going to have this on low so we don't have a cloud of powdered sugar. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And I'm going to let you see the cloud already, and it's on low. And let me go ahead and just add a little bit of milk at a time. And I'm just talking about maybe a teaspoon at a time, because you don't want it to get too wet. I don't want to wear this powdered sugar. I'm going to put it back on low. Add 1 more teaspoon, so that'll make 3. And that's probably going to be good enough for that. And I'm just whipping it up really nice. Smells good. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we've got here. Oh yeah, perfect. Nice and thick. That's what you want for your cream cheese buttercream. I'm just knocking this off of here. Okay. Let me just put these things back here out of the way, and we will start the frost. I don't have an offset spatula, so I'm just going to go ahead and use what I've got. Let me go ahead and move this so you can see. There we go. Okay. There's one layer. And the recipe actually calls for 1 cup of frosting on each layer. and then the rest, which would be 3 layers if you made the whole cake. You want to make sure that your cake is nice and cool before you put this frosting on, or you will have a mess. I might just add a little bit more. Oh, it smells so good. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and get the other layer. I'm going to put that on here. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and put this on here, because I'm not going to need a lot of frosting for that loaf, just the top. This is a really pretty cake. It's a nice old-fashioned traditional cake, and I love making these kind of cakes. I just think it's fun to keep traditions alive. All these nice old-fashioned flavors. Okay. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and frost the sides if you want to, or you can just leave it like this. I've seen it both ways. And I am going to go ahead and just kind of lightly frost the sides here. Kind of like a naked cake look, you know, where you can still see the cake, but it does have a little bit of frosting. I like that look. And you're getting a lot of frosting, especially with it being a layered cake, but not a ton. So if you're not a real sweet lover, you're going to perfect amount. Okay. There we go. And I have just enough to put on the top of that loaf. Alright, I'm just going to go around here, the bottom, and just kind of clean up my mess a little bit with a paper towel. Even though it's just us, I still like to make it look nice. Think that looks good enough there. Now with the pecans, now these, I didn't toast these, but you can. You just go ahead and, let's see, can you see that already? There we go. You just want to go on the outside here without throwing them all over like I did. Now if you have half pecan halves, that would be pretty too. But I'm just kind of going on the outside here. And just putting this around the rim. And that's pretty traditional for a hummingbird cake. Just a simple decoration of pecans, or pecans, however you say it. My grandmother from Baltimore used to say pecans. That frosting is good. Now, if you wanted to, you could go ahead, since these are chopped, go ahead and just cover the whole thing. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and stop right here. And this is your traditional southern hummingbird cake. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it, show you what it looks like inside. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we are with the cake and the loaf. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the cake and give Willis a piece, and I'm going to have a piece so you can see what it looks like on the inside here. It's really a nice cake. There it is. Isn't that a pretty cake? And let me get a fork. And I'm going to taste it. Oh, it smells so good. That little hint of cinnamon. I hope you give this cake a try. It is so good. And with the toasted pecans on the side, oh my gosh. So nice. And so pretty. And there it is. Beautiful. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for all my views, all my viewers, new and old. I really appreciate everybody. Have a great day and happy St. Patrick's Day from me and Willis at Lazy K Mountain Homestead. Have a great evening. Bye.